Russia-Ukraine war latest news. Putin is close to peace with Ukraine, says Russia's ambassador. Vladimir Putin's envoy to the U.S. told Newsweek that Russia is seeking a new ceasefire arrangement with Ukraine. Washington, D.C. officials doubt Moscow wants a negotiated end to the conflict, but Russian Ambassador Anatoly Antonov told Newsweek that we consider statements by representatives of the U.S. administration about Russia's alleged lack of readiness for peace negotiations with Ukraine as a deliberate attempt to turn everything upside down. After the Russian military broke a year-long deadlock in Kharkiv, Antonov said there can be no notion of any freezing of the battle, and the Russian leader did not say anything like this. Russian-Ukrainian negotiations must consider the circumstances on the ground, he stated. Russian forces cannot retreat to hypothetical dividing lines. Reminder: Russia has a constitution. There are clearly established state borders, including new federal subjects. Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky still disagree on such borders. Neither Russia's September 2022 referendum to annex Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia nor its March 2014 vote to annex the Crimean Peninsula amid worsening unrest that started the war have been recognized internationally. President Vladimir Putin said Russia requires on-paper security guarantees, Antonov added. Since Zelensky's term ended, it's unclear who may sign the document in Ukraine. This number is out of date. Discussing this significant subject is necessary. Political parties have agreed to suspend Zelensky's March or April elections due to the ongoing war that began with Putin's February 2022 special military operation and martial law. 8 years had passed since Russia's invasion of Crimea and the Donetsk and Luhansk separatist rebellion and Kyiv's pro-West government took power. Russian leaders call the fight a defensive war against NATO's expansion along Russian borders. U.S. officials have called it an unwarranted act of aggression and given Ukraine billions in military and economic aid. President Joe Biden's administration has frequently stated that it will not negotiate an end to the crisis without the Ukrainian government. Reuters reported Friday that 4 anonymous Russian sources said the Kremlin was willing to end the war through a negotiated ceasefire that would entrench the front lines. U.S. officials were skeptical. The Kremlin has yet to indicate any genuine interest in ending its war, exactly the opposite, a State Department spokesperson told Newsweek. Any proposal for a comprehensive, just, and sustainable peace in Ukraine must respect Ukraine's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders and be consistent with the UN Charter. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said Friday that recent events suggested a plot to undermine a peace meeting in Switzerland next month. His entourage sends these bogus signals of purported ceasefire readiness despite the reality that Russian troops continue to violently attack Ukraine while their missiles and drones rain down on Ukrainian cities and communities, Kuleba wrote on X, formerly Twittered. He added, Putin does not want to stop attacking Ukraine. Only the moral and united global majority can force him to choose peace over war. This is the peace summit's goal. He fears it because of this. In a Friday video message, Zelensky said the Russian leader is afraid of what the summit can bring. The Ukrainian president said the world is capable of driving Russia into peace and into compliance with international security principles. Antonov called the peace summit, to which Moscow was not invited, illegitimate. This initiative is nothing more than a profanation to divert the world from our biggest challenges, Antonov stated. Replace genuine diplomatic and legal effort with vacuous words and political slogans will not work. He added, the Swiss gathering cannot legitimize Zelensky. It lacks authority. The war continues as Russian forces advance toward Kharkiv, Donetsk, and Zaporizhia. Antonov warned that ignoring Russia's requests by Kyiv and its international supporters will aggravate Ukraine's combat condition. If Washington ignores Russian peace negotiation suggestions, he added, the Ukrainians will lose much more territory.